Yeah, just over a year. Started working on Exodus, grooving in new players, and we decided to actually start gigging before the album was done, so that we could try out the new material,
the
on
FNP,
the audience. Yeah, that worked really well, because by the time we went back and to finish the tracking on the album, we were well rehearsed, you know. So it went quicker tracking to finish the album, and there's a lot of variety on it. People are going to hear like some really heavy stuff, and then at the same time you're going to hear some stuff that sounds more like Camel even. And I don't mind people saying, oh, well, you know, Nathan Mahl sounds like it's influenced by Camel. Well, what do you think? I was in the band. It's not like I was influenced by the band as a listener, as a fan. I was in the band. Yeah, there's some influence there. You know, I worked with Andy, and I know what he likes. I know what he likes to hear, and I know how he writes, and I like that. I like that style, you know. So I like to throw some of that in. There's a song on Exodus which is very much, I'm dedicating it to Andy because it's completely inspired by him. Whenever people hear it, they're going to say, oh, that sounds like a Camel song. Well, it could have been, actually. It could have been a Camel song, because I would have written it the same way had I still been working with him, because I wanted to write something that he would want to play to and solo and stuff like that. So all the structure of the song is built up that way to lead it to an immense guitar solo, which Tristan did. And I made him suffer for it too. I gave him some preparation, but he did it live in the studio, and he did multiple takes. So I still have to go through all the recordings, all the takes, and select my favorite or combination. 40 years. 40 years it's called. See, it's a desert song, right? 40 years in the desert. What's the desert animal? Camel. Not too cryptic. That one, I wrote that. I wrote that piece. Geezer wrote the lyrics though, and he sings that song, and he did a really wonderful job with that. Everybody just played the hell out of that song. I mean, it turned out really nice. Canaan, the song is actually called Canaan. He wrote that song. He wrote that song a couple of years ago. I thought it was a really good song, and that we could put it on the album, you know, and we just had to make it into a band song. That's an instrumental song. It's one of the only instrumental songs on the album. There's a middle part to it that's very, very mellow, very desertish. It's about the promised city, right? After 40 years in the desert, they get to the promised land and it's already occupied. There's no vacancy. So they try to take it, and then they move on. We close the album with a piece that has more to do with the concept, the global concept of the album, as opposed to a specific portion of the book. It's called The Price of Freedom, and it's just about what people are willing to go through in order to get their freedom, or used to be anyway. People seem to be more content nowadays with their little pleasures of life than to worry much about personal freedom and stuff like that. A tribute song to the spirit of those who don't mind fighting for their freedom. There's a lot of EBow on the album. Sometimes Tristan's playing it, sometimes I'm playing it. The EBow is used on a guitar, but I've also got a guest violin player, 4 songs, Dave Peterson from Toronto, a friend of mine. I wanted to record him live in person at Al's place. That's how we met. He introduced Al and I, actually, like 15 years ago. He's originally from Ottawa, did a lot of gigging. He's a guitar player as well. He's actually more of a guitar player than he is a violin player, but he plays a lot of violin now, so I thought, well, we don't have a violin player in the band, so why don't you come down and play some violin on the album? Be a nice touch, actually.